Hello everyone and welcome back to Tristan's Cozy Corner. Today I did a longer video, but I wanted to film this shorter video for you guys so you could see day 17 and day 18 of the Diamine Inkvent Calendar. Since I'm filming so late at night, I wanted to, that's kind of usually when I end up filming, and so I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to see both of the day's ink swatches without taking too long to do it. This isn't going to be a short um, because 3 minutes is too much to do, almost sometimes too much to do for one video, let alone doing it for 2 videos. So here's day 17 and day 18. 17 is a standard purple ink called Gala. It's kind of like a light lavender lilac-y color. And then day 18 is Laurel, which is this teal green, dark teal green, extreme sheen ink. And they're quite beautiful, both of them. And so I'm going to put those back in, and I will pull out my swatches really quick to show you everything. You can probably hear my cat in the background. I opened the door to start cleaning up, and then I said, oh wait, I'd never filmed a short video. So here's the Clairefontaine notebook. Notepad. You can definitely see that sheen there on that, and then you can kind of see the green depending on the color there. The green's kind of coming through. There's just a little bit of bleed through and your average ghosting. Then we've got our Midori paper here. Definitely can't really see the green as well, but the sheen is definitely there. And average, decent ghosting, but no bleed through, so that was lucky and nice. I appreciate that that doesn't bleed through. Here is the Leuchtturm notebook. Again, that green's kind of coming through more on this one, but the words are kind of sheening on that. So, and then we've got some bleed through definitely and light ghosting. Then we have my Rhodia journal here. And Rhodia is definitely very sheeny, and a little bit of the greens showing through, and a little bit of bleed through, not bad, just some speckles and your average ghosting. Then we've got the Magic of Eye notebook showing off that green. There's maybe a little bit of sheen going on in the words, but not much. And then definitely a lot of bleed through, and it did start bleeding through on the other side of the page here, unfortunately. But for the most part, this Magic of Eye notebook has held up to the fountain pen inks pretty well, so just don't make it too heavy and you'll probably be fine. Here's the Hobonichi paper. Again, that green's not really coming through. I did really heavy swatches if you watch my full video there. And then it didn't bleed through though, and there's the ghosting. Then we've got Maruma Nemesine. I'm kind of getting some of the sheening in the words there and around the edges of the shaded, heavier swatch part. And it definitely bled through on this one, and I'm even seeing a little bit of the bleed through on the bottom of the page underneath. So there's that. Then we've got the Traveler's Notebook here. Definitely getting more sheen on this one. And it's showing off quite nicely. And no bleed through, maybe a little bit there in the heavier part of the swatch. And then just your average ghosting for the words. Let me pull back up my Passion Planner here. Some sheening here. Definitely on the words there and on the actual swatch. And you're kind of getting more of the color aspects there. Hard to really tell. No bleed through though, and not really any ghosting coming in on that. And then finally, we've got my Dominant Industry ink archiving book. And this one has definitely the decent sheening. And you can kind of see the green there a little bit in the background, which is nice as well. And it did not bleed through on the bottom. For Laurel, at least, I wasn't even going over the purple for day 17 for Gala. And so we've got bleed through on Gala for sure. So let me go back through all the others and show you Gala. and talk about that one a little bit, because the shading on Gala is more intense on these. So it's a standard ink, so that's kind of to be expected. You'll realize I noticed I forgot the 17 up there for that one, so that's why that's so tiny. And again, you know, I didn't really see any bleed through on these for it. You know, your average ghosting for Gala, but the shading on that is beautiful. That was Travelers and my Passion Planner in the Dominant Industry. This is Marimon Nemesine for Gala. So a little bit of shading there, not as well. And here is Hobonichi. The shading's a little better there. No bleed through. Your ghosting average on this one. Sorry, let me show you that again. That was kind of quick. Your average ghosting. And here is the Magic of Eye notebook. And that one definitely did bleed through as well. And then the ghosting on the words still. Here is Rhodia. Got some good shading on that one. And no bleed through really, maybe a couple of little speckles. Leuchtturm. Okay shading. It almost looks a little sheeny around the edges of that heavier swatch area. And then we have some speckles maybe there. And then I've got here decent shading on the Clairefontaine pad. And it didn't bleed through, maybe kind of like a little bit of striations that you can see, but not really any bleed through, which is good. And your ghosting is average. And then the Midori paper again, definitely got that shading in there. Beautiful. And no bleed through, but there is the ghosting. So those are all the swatches for day 17 and day 18 of the Diamine Inkvent Calendar. Thank you guys for joining me here at Tristan's Cozy Corner, and I hope you all have a great evening and stay cozy.